Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome to my hobby space. In this video, I'll show you some cheap ways to base your first miniature. Building and basing just one model is quite easy. First, I'll show you some sci-fi basing tips. Then, I'll show you some fantasy basing tips. Both can be simple or complex. It depends on how much time and energy you have to spend. Of course, you could always just paint the buggers black and call it a day. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Let me start with sci-fi bases. I'm more of a fantasy modeler, but I do paint sci-fi miniatures from time to time. These are some of the easiest bases to do quickly and cheaply while still looking great. You will need a lot of junk. Seriously, junk. I like to use the following items. For demonstration purposes, I'm using thin card. This is the box of ice cream bars. Yum, yum, yummy. I'm also using a zip tie and some plastic mesh. First, trim the card to size and glue it onto the base. Cut off any excess. Then, score some lines into the card. Add some rivets. You can use a ruler, a pencil, a ballpoint pen. Anything will work to do this, really. If your miniature has a peg in his foot, recut the hole in the base for the foot. Next, glue on the zip tie. Leave some space for the mesh. Then glue down the plastic mesh. Cut off any excess. Add some weapons, bandoliers, grenades, or any extra mini bits for some extra flair. It looks wonky now, but it'll look $1,000,000 once it's primed. Next, let's do a fantasy base. I often use these materials. Side note, this miniature will be added to my Seraphon army, so I have to keep this base coherent with the rest of my Seraphon forces. First, find out where the feet will attach. Using CA glue, glue down some thin cork sheet. This miniature does not have a peg in its feet, so we have to keep that in mind while building the base. Tear off any extra. Let's add some air-dried plastic that I textured. Using baking soda and some fine sand, I blend everything together. Use CA glue to glue it down. It should harden instantly. But don't forget to leave a space for his feet to attach. Tea leaves or spices can be added to look like leaf scatter on the base. Repeat adding your tea leaves, your sand, and your baking soda and gluing it down with CA glue until you're satisfied with the finished product. Next, lightly spray on some IPA alcohol. This lowers the surface tension. Then we're going to add watered down PVA glue to hold everything down tight onto the base. I will add some roots, flocking, and some aquarium plants after I finish painting the miniature later. In no time at all, your first base is ready. This might be controversial, but I like to glue the miniature onto the base now. I put most of my miniatures on the base before priming them. To me, it's just easier that way. If it looks like it'll be hard to paint in between the legs or underneath, I might leave the miniature off. Take your time, get familiar with the process, and as you go, you will find your own best practices for basing miniatures. In the next video, I'll show you how to prime your first miniature. Did I miss anything? Is there anything about the basing process that you have more questions about? If you do, put them down below in the comments section. I love getting them, and I always read them. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and keep enjoying the hobby. Please like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos.